Hi kiddos, it's Mrs. Harris. I wanted to say hello and tell you that I'm so sorry I don't get to see you this week. It's gonna be almost a month before I see some of my friends, and that's just too long. This is a really special week. It's Thanksgiving week. It's one of my very favorite holidays, and it's one that means a lot to me because I've always been really super into learning about Native Americans. So I'm going to read a couple books that are special to me, and we're going to talk about being thankful, and then we're going to talk about the story of the Pilgrims and the Indians and how they came together. So the first book I'm reading is called Thanks for Thanksgiving, and it's written by Julie Marks, and she wrote the words. She's the author, and it's illustrated by Doris Barrett. She is the one that made the pictures. Thanks for Thanksgiving for turkey and pie. Thank you for fall and gold leaves floating by. Thank you for school. I love to feel smart. And I love teaching you. Thank you for music and dancing and art. Those are the things that make life better. Thank you for play dates, for swings, and for slides. Thank you for hopscotch and piggyback rides. Thanks for sweet puppies and soft, furry cats. Thank you for dress up, red shoes, and big hats. Thanks for umbrellas for rain boots and puddles. Thank you for mommy and warm, cozy cuddles. Thank you for daddy and rides on a sled. Thank you for kisses and tucks into bed. Thanks for the moon and the stars up above. But most of all, thanks for the family I love. This is a book about being thankful. To be thankful means to be happy and to understand and recognize that there are things in life that you can have that make you feel blessed. And that is a good feeling. It's a warm feeling. It makes you feel really, really good to be thankful for what you have. It means to see the things that you have and know that other people might not have them too. So the thing that I'm most thankful for is my family. I realize that even though this has been a hard year for everyone, I have spent a lot of wonderful time with just my family. And I love my friends, and I love traveling, and I love all sorts of things like that too. But I also know that sometimes I get too busy in regular life to really spend a lot of good time with my family. And this year I've been able to spend a lot more time with my son Rue and my dog and my cat and my husband and my mom and my dad and a couple of my cousins and aunties. It's been really nice. Now, what are you thankful for? Can you tell your mommy or daddy one thing that makes you feel good inside that you have? And it shouldn't necessarily be a toy. It should probably be something like food or your pets or your mommy or your daddy or your grandma and grandpa, or maybe your house over your head to keep the rain off of you, or maybe a special experience that you had It should be something like that, not necessarily about a thing. It's about things that you can't see sometimes, things like love and comfort and trust. Those are things that you can't see, but they're inside you. Now, one other thing that I wanted to tell you about is that every time at Thanksgiving, I always teach my friends about Native Americans. Some people call them Indians, and how important they are to me. I've been learning about them since I was little, and I have been really, really wondering how we can be more thankful for them and all the things and gifts that they gave us. Now, Native Americans came to America first. They came over a really long stretch of ice when it was very cold, a long time ago, and they walked over the ice, over the ocean, from one continent to another, and they were here first, and they were taking such good care of the land and all the creatures on the land, and they were living on this land in lots of different places, and they had lots of different languages and lots of different cultures, and they used what they could find to eat, and they knew how to grow things and also to gather things to keep them alive throughout the winter. So when the Pilgrims came over on the boat from England, they came to a place called Massachusetts. That's a state right next to New York where we live. And they had trouble getting through the winter. So this book is about how the Indians helped the Pilgrims get through their first couple years in the Plymouth colony. One cool thing to know is that the house that I'm in right now was built by a Quaker family called the Wings, who came from the Plymouth colony. They were one of the first families to come over on the boat called the Mayflower, and they lived in the Plymouth colony for a while, and then they moved slowly across America to Connecticut and to New York, and there was lots and lots of different cousins and brothers, and they were Quaker. Quaker is a religion that believes in no fighting, no wars, and no violence, and no killing. So they stayed alive for a long time when a lot of other people didn't, because they didn't go to the wars. This book is called The Very First Thanksgiving Day, and I really love the illustrations. It's by Rhonda Gowler Green, and the paintings are by Susan Gaber, and I love them. This is the very first Thanksgiving Day. There's the Pilgrims at the Plymouth colony. They made their houses out of wood. When they got to America, the woods were really thick and the trees were very large. This is the food gathered and blessed, the corn and sweet berries, the wild turkey dressed, shared on the very first Thanksgiving Day. They had some of the same things we still eat today: turkey and berries and corn. These are the Indians, skillful and strong, who knew how to live through the winter so long and ate of the food gathered and blessed. Now this is something called corn, and some people think of it as a decoration now, but it was not. Native Americans used it for food. They would dry it and grind it up, and they would eat it that way. These are the Native Americans that came to share their food and to share their knowledge with the Pilgrims. These are the Pilgrims who farmed the new land, who steadfastly labored and toiled by hand and learned from the Indians, skillful and strong. Now everyone is watching. What is he doing? Goodness, what is he putting in the ground? He's showing them how to plant a seed on top of some dead fish, because the fish will rot and create the nutrients that the plant needs to take up in its roots. These are the houses built in straight rows that stood in the hot sun and harsh winter snows and sheltered the Pilgrims who farmed the new land. The Pilgrims knew how to farm things from England. They brought some seeds with them on the boat. But they didn't know much about the other things that they could grow from America. This is the harbor. That's a safe place for a boat to land, marked by a huge stone where first steps were taken to chart the unknown, not far from the houses built in straight rows. There's the Mayflower. They have some funny clothes, huh? This is the Mayflower ship in full sail that weathered the rough seas, the wind and the hail, and docked in the harbor marked by the huge stone. You can see a Native American wondering, will these people be friendly or will they not be so friendly? I wonder what he was thinking. This is the ocean that never would end, that sometimes was foe, that's an enemy, and sometimes was friend, that carried the Mayflower ship in full sail. Oh, what a big ocean it was. What a long journey from England. Mrs. Harris has been to Plymouth in England to see the Mayflower steps, where the pilgrims slept even the night before. It's now a gin distillery called the Plymouth Gin Distillery. It's where the pilgrims slept the night before they got on the boat. This is the land where it all began, the land where a brave group made ready their plan to travel the ocean that never would end, that sometimes was foe and sometimes was friend. Here's Plymouth. Plymouth is in a place called Cornwall. And Cornwall is where my husband was born. That carried the Mayflower ship in full sail, that weathered the rough seas, the wind and the hail. Oh, goodness. And docked in the harbor marked by a huge stone where first steps were taken to chart the unknown. Not far from the houses built in straight rows that stood in the hot sun and harsh winter snows and sheltered the pilgrims who farmed the new land, who steadfastly labored and toiled by hand. And learned from the Indians, skillful and strong, who knew how to live through the winters so long. And ate of the food, gathered and blessed, the corn and sweet berries, the wild turkey dressed. Shared on the very first Thanksgiving Day. Let's be thankful for the Native Americans who helped us. We can maybe think a little bit about how we should treat others, because sometimes we did not treat them very nicely. And you'll learn about that later. Anyway, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy, everybody. If you have a little family all together, that's good enough. All right, and Mazu says, have a good one. He's keeping me company.